Have you ever caught yourself gripping the armrest just to stand up, like your legs suddenly forgot how strong they used to be? For many people over 50, these changes arrive quietly, almost without warning, but they are not random. They are signs, and if we ignore them, the consequences can be life-changing. Let me tell you a story that may sound familiar. Ray is 74 years old. He spent most of his life behind the wheel of a long-haul truck. For nearly 50 years, he crossed the highways of America, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, all the way to the East Coast and back, delivering goods and keeping his promise to make it home on the weekends. Ray was proud of two things: his driving record and his independence. He had strong arms, steady hands, and legs that never failed him, until one day, they did. Ray first noticed it during a routine grocery trip. He bent down to grab a can of beans and felt an odd heaviness in his thighs. Maybe I stood too long, he thought. A few weeks later, he found himself holding on to the railing as he climbed the stairs at his daughter's house. That was new. Then came the wobble when he got out of bed. The unexpected moment when he nearly fell just walking through the garage. Still, Ray brushed it off. Just aging. He said, no big deal, until the day he fell. It was early morning. The Arizona sun was just starting to creep through the blinds. Ray walked into the kitchen to make his usual pot of coffee. As he reached for the filter drawer, his right foot caught on the edge of the floor mat. There was no time to grab anything. He landed hard, his hip taking the full impact. The pain was instant. The ambulance came. The doctors confirmed a fractured hip. Ray would need surgery, followed by months of rehab. And just like that, the man who had driven 18-wheelers through snowstorms was now using a walker to get from the bed to the bathroom. He kept asking himself, how did I get this weak? What happened to my legs? It is a question that too many older adults face, usually after something has already gone wrong. But here is what I want you to know. Leg weakness is not just a natural part of aging. It is a message. And like any message, the sooner you listen to it, the better your outcome will be. Today, we are going to break down the real reasons why your legs lose strength after 50. Some of them are obvious. Others will surprise you. But all of them can be managed, some even reversed, if you know what to do. More importantly, we are going to show you how to rebuild strength, restore balance, and regain your confidence step by step. No gimmicks, no extreme routines. Just real solutions for real people who want to stay independent and strong for as long as possible. Because let me tell you something. Ray said to me during his recovery, I was not afraid of surgery. I was afraid of becoming a burden. That fear is real, but there is also something more powerful than fear. It is action, and the first step starts with understanding what is happening inside your body and what you can do about it. So, before we dive into the 10 causes of leg weakness, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you love experienced what Ray went through a fall? Leg weakness, or maybe just that slow change where the stairs feel steeper than they used to. If that sounds familiar, type 1 in the comments below. If it does not sound like you yet, type 0. Either way, your response helps me create content that truly matters to you and the people you care about. And if this story already has you thinking about your own health, then stay with me. What you will learn in the next few minutes could help you avoid the pain Ray went through and help you stay steady on your feet. One confident step at a time. Let us get started. Number 1. Group 1 causes: muscle and nerve loss. After Ray's surgery, something changed not just in his body, but in how he looked at it, lying in a rehab bed, staring at the ceiling tiles. He began to think back over the last 10 years. When did my legs start to betray me, he wondered. The fall did not come out of nowhere. It was the result of a slow, silent decline that began long before he hit the floor. The first culprit, a condition that nearly every older adult deals with, yet few even know by name. It is called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength that begins as early as your 30s. Most people do not notice it at first, but by the time you are in your 60s, the effects can no longer be ignored. Muscles become smaller, movements become slower. Climbing stairs takes more effort. Standing from a chair feels like a workout. In Ray's case, the signs were all there. He had not done regular resistance training since he stopped unloading crates from his truck 20 years earlier. He ate less protein than he used to, favoring convenience over nutrition. And like many men his age, he assumed walking from the living room to the kitchen counted as being active. It did not. What sarcopenia really does is chip away at your foundation. The muscles in your legs, particularly the quadriceps and glutes, weaken over time. This weak base not only reduces your strength, it affects your balance. That is why people with sarcopenia are more likely to fall, even from something as simple as turning too quickly or walking on uneven ground. Ray's therapist explained it this way: your muscles are like scaffolding. Without it, the whole building becomes unstable. But sarcopenia is not the only silent thief. Ray also began to experience tingling in his feet, a burning sensation at night that made it hard to sleep. At first, he thought it was just poor circulation. In truth, he was showing signs of peripheral neuropathy. Peripheral neuropathy occurs when the nerves that send signals between your brain, spinal cord, and limbs become damaged. The damage disrupts communication, leading to symptoms like numbness, tingling, pain, and weakness, especially in the feet and legs. For Ray, the cause was borderline diabetes that had never been properly addressed. Over time, elevated blood sugar had started to damage the tiny nerves in his lower extremities. But diabetes is not the only cause. A deficiency in vitamin B12, a nutrient essential to nerve health, can lead to similar symptoms. That deficiency is common in older adults, particularly those who have absorption issues, take certain medications, or follow restrictive diets. Ray had no idea his multivitamin was not enough. His body was not absorbing B12 efficiently, and his nerves were paying the price. It is a dangerous combination: muscle loss from sarcopenia paired with sensory loss from neuropathy. You feel less and move less. You become hesitant, cautious, and more likely to trip over something you never even noticed. Then, there was a third problem, one that surprised Ray the most. About 5 years earlier, his doctor had prescribed statins to lower his cholesterol. Statins are widely used and often very effective in preventing heart disease, but in some people, especially older adults, they can have a troubling side effect: medication-induced myopathy. This condition leads to muscle weakness, cramping, and soreness. For Ray, it started in his calves and thighs. He noticed he could not walk as far without feeling fatigued. "I thought it was just age," he said. But when he mentioned the leg weakness to his doctor, the statins were never brought up. That is why it is so important to speak up. If you are taking statins or corticosteroids or certain chemotherapy drugs and you notice sudden muscle weakness or pain, Do not brush it off. Bring it to your doctor's attention. Sometimes, adjusting the dose or switching medications can make a world of difference. Finally, there is one more cause of leg weakness that Ray narrowly avoided, but one that many others are not so lucky to escape: stroke. A stroke occurs when blood flow to a part of the brain is blocked or reduced, depriving brain tissue of oxygen. The result can be devastating paralysis, speech difficulties, and yes, sudden loss of control over one side of the body, including the leg. After Ray's fall, he shared a rehab room with a woman named Marlene. She was 68 and recovering from a mild stroke that had left her left leg weak and uncoordinated. Watching her struggle to take 3 steps with a walker hit Ray hard. Marlene had once danced in community theater. Now she was learning to walk again, one shuffle at a time. The connection between the brain and the body is delicate. When a stroke strikes, that communication is broken. Even after the event is over, the muscles on the affected side often deteriorate from lack of use. Physical therapy helps, but it is a long road, and it all starts with prevention, controlling blood pressure, managing atrial fibrillation, and recognizing the signs early. Ray saw in Marlene what might have been, and that motivated him more than anything. These 4 conditions: sarcopenia, peripheral neuropathy, medication-induced myopathy, and stroke form the first group of reasons why legs weaken after 50. What ties them together is this: they are silent, gradual, and often ignored until it is too late, but they are not irreversible. Ray is proof of that. Through targeted strength training, nutritional adjustments, and careful medication review, he is walking again, steadier and stronger than before. And in the next section, we will show you how blood flow, bone health, and joint integrity also play a critical role in how your legs perform as you age. Stay with us. The journey is just getting started. Number 2, Group 2 causes: circulation and joint health. In the weeks following his hip surgery, Ray became a student of his own body. Every ache, every step, every stretch felt like part of a lesson he had ignored for far too long. He realized the fall in his kitchen was not an isolated accident. It was the result of years of wear, neglect, and invisible damage that had been building up inside him. One of the most surprising things Ray learned came during a routine physical therapy session. His therapist asked him to walk down the hallway and back. After just a few steps, Ray slowed down and grabbed the railing. "My legs feel like they are filled with sand," he said. That heaviness was not just muscle weakness. It was something deeper. The therapist suggested Ray get tested for peripheral artery disease, or PAD. PAD is a condition where the arteries, especially those in the legs, become narrowed or blocked by plaque buildup. This restricts blood flow, which means the muscles in your legs do not get enough oxygen during activity. The result: pain, fatigue, and that heavy, dragging sensation that Ray was describing. PAD is common among older adults, especially those who have a history of smoking, high blood pressure, or elevated cholesterol. 3 things Ray had struggled with over the years. It often goes unnoticed until walking becomes difficult. People think they are just getting old, but in reality, their legs are literally being starved of oxygen-rich blood. Ray was prescribed a walking program designed to help retrain his body. It was painful at first, but with each short walk, his body began to respond. The pain decreased. His distance improved. His confidence returned. That is the key with PAD consistent movement, even when it feels hard, because the more you move, the more your body builds tiny new blood vessels to work around the blocked ones. Still, blood flow was only part of the problem. Ray also started to notice that his knees felt stiff in the mornings, and he struggled to bend down to tie his shoes. The pain was not constant, but it was enough to make him hesitate. His doctor diagnosed him with osteoarthritis, a condition Ray had always associated with other people. Osteoarthritis is the gradual breakdown of cartilage, the smooth, rubbery material that cushions your joints. When that cushion wears down, bone rubs against bone, causing pain, swelling, and stiffness. It is especially common in weight-bearing joints like the knees and hips. For Ray, it was a double-edged sword. The more his knees hurt, the less he moved, and the less he moved, the weaker his leg muscles became. Over time, that created a vicious cycle where inactivity led to muscle loss, instability, and more pain. But there is good news. Movement does not have to be painful. Ray's therapist recommended low-impact activities like swimming and cycling. These exercises strengthen the muscles without putting pressure on the joints. Ray started attending water aerobics classes at a local senior center. At first, he felt self-conscious, but after the first week, he noticed real changes. His knees were less stiff, his balance improved, and best of all, he looked forward to moving again. Then came the final piece of the puzzle, something Ray had never considered: osteoporosis. After his fall and hip fracture, his medical team ran a bone density scan. The results were eye-opening. Ray's bones were thinning. The break he suffered in his kitchen was not just bad luck. It was the direct result of weakened bones that could no longer support the stress of a fall. Osteoporosis is often called the silent disease because it causes no symptoms until a bone breaks. It affects both men and women, especially those over 65. The biggest culprits: low calcium and vitamin D intake, lack of weight-bearing exercise, and sometimes certain medications or conditions that affect hormone levels. Ray's diet had been lacking for years. He rarely drank milk, avoided the sun, and did not take supplements. The result was brittle bones, something he could no longer afford to ignore. Now, Ray takes a daily calcium and vitamin D supplement, eats more leafy greens, and spends at least 15 minutes in the sun each morning. He also began light strength training to help stimulate bone growth and prevent further loss. What Ray learned, and what you need to know, is that your legs are not just muscle. They are a system of muscles, joints, and bones, all working together. And when one part fails, whether it is your blood flow, your knees, or your bones, the entire system suffers. But here is the encouraging part. Every one of these issues can be improved. Blood flow can increase. Joints can be supported. Bones can be strengthened. It does not happen overnight, but with daily habits, the right kind of movement, and proper nutrition, your legs can regain their power. Ray is living proof of that. He still walks with a cane sometimes, but he no longer fears the stairs. He no longer dreads the pain in his knees, and he no longer sees his age as a reason to sit still. So now, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you care about experienced any of these conditions? PAD, arthritis, or osteoporosis? If so, let me know in the comments by typing the number 1. And if you are lucky enough not to have dealt with these yet, type 0, because the more we share, the more we learn, and the more we learn, the stronger we become together. In the next section, we are going to dive into one of the most overlooked but powerful factors in leg weakness: your daily habits, what you eat, how much you sit, and the subtle things that may be weakening your legs without you even knowing it. Stay with me. There is more to uncover. Number 3. Group 3 causes: lifestyle and nutrition. By the 3rd month of recovery, Ray had regained much of his mobility. He was walking steadily with a cane, getting dressed on his own, and even helping his grandson plant tomatoes in the backyard. But his physical therapist noticed something. Ray's progress had slowed. His strength was holding steady, but it was not increasing. His energy dipped in the afternoons, and he was sleeping more. That is when the therapist asked a simple but powerful question: how much time are you still spending sitting each day? Ray thought about it. Morning coffee at the kitchen table, an hour of TV before lunch, a nap, some reading, then more TV in the evening. It added up. Despite his exercises, Ray was still sitting for more than 8 hours a day. This is the trap of a sedentary lifestyle, especially for older adults. Even if you do some movement during the day, long periods of sitting still weaken the legs more than people realize. The muscles get less circulation, less stimulation, and slowly begin to atrophy. And the more they weaken, the harder it is to move. As Ray put it, the more I sit, the more tired I feel, and the more tired I feel, the more I sit. This cycle is common, but it is also reversible. Ray's therapist introduced micro movements throughout the day, marching in place while brushing his teeth, standing every 30 minutes, and doing ankle circles while watching the news. These may seem small, but they help re-engage the leg muscles and keep the blood flowing. Still, Ray's progress was slower than expected. His body felt heavier than it used to, even though his weight on the scale had not changed much. That is when his doctor brought up another term Ray had never heard before: sarcopenic obesity. This condition occurs when someone carries excess body fat, but also has low muscle mass. It is more dangerous than obesity alone because the fat replaces healthy muscle tissue. Especially in the legs and hips, it leads to weakness, slower reaction times, and greater fall risk. Ray's body was showing the signs. Though he did not look obese in the traditional sense, his legs lacked muscle tone. His energy lagged, and he was losing functional strength, the kind that lets you carry groceries, climb stairs, or get off the floor. To address this, Ray began using resistance bands for simple exercises, seated leg extensions, standing side steps, glute squeezes. These light but targeted movements help stimulate muscle growth without stressing his joints. Just 10 minutes a day started to make a difference. His diet also got a reset. Ray worked with a dietitian to reduce processed carbohydrates and increase his protein intake. Lean chicken, lentils, Greek yogurt, and eggs became regulars in his meal plan. The focus was on rebuilding muscle and cutting down on belly fat, which worsens insulin resistance and inflammation. And that is when Ray admitted something else he had always considered: fruit a free food. He ate it in place of dessert, often grabbing 2 bananas a day, a bowl of grapes at night, or a few slices of watermelon with breakfast. It seemed healthy, natural, Safe, but not all fruits are created equal, especially for older adults. Fruits like bananas, pineapples, grapes, and watermelon are loaded with natural sugars. These sugars spike blood glucose and contribute to chronic inflammation, especially in the joints. For someone like Ray, who already had mild osteoarthritis and borderline blood sugar issues, these fruits were working against him. His legs often felt swollen in the evenings. His knees ached after walking just a few blocks. It never occurred to him that his so-called healthy snacks were part of the problem. Excess fructose in these fruits can also raise uric acid levels, contributing to gout-like symptoms in the feet, toes, and ankles. That tightness Ray felt in the mornings, that burning in his arches after a walk, those were red flags. The dietitian explained it like this: fruit is medicine or poison, depending on the type and the body it enters. Ray did not have to give up fruit entirely. Instead, he made a switch. He replaced bananas with blueberries, rich in antioxidants but low in sugar. He swapped grapes for sliced avocado or a few kiwi slices. These fruits supported his joint health without causing blood sugar spikes or fluid retention. Over the next few weeks, something shifted. His knees felt more stable. The swelling in his ankles reduced. He had fewer crashes in the afternoon. And best of all, he began waking up with more energy. Lifestyle and nutrition are often overlooked when it comes to leg health. People focus on bones and joints, but forget that what you eat and how you move every hour of the day plays a larger role than almost anything else. Ray learned this lesson the hard way, but now he is on the other side of it stronger, more mobile, and more aware of the small choices that build or break his foundation. So, as we close this section, I want to ask you, do you find yourself sitting too much during the day? Have you been relying on fruits, like bananas or grapes, thinking they were harmless, or have you noticed your body slowing down, even if your weight has stayed the same? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to take a closer look at how your daily habits are affecting your legs. In the next section, we will tie it all together and talk about what you can start doing today to restore your strength, confidence, and independence, because aging may be inevitable, but losing your mobility does not have to be. Number 4. Conclusion: the power is in your hands. Ray sat on his porch one quiet morning, sipping coffee and watching the sun climb over the rooftops. It had been nearly 6 months since his fall in the kitchen. 6 months since that sharp pain in his hip had forced him to confront the truth about his body. But today, he did not feel broken. He felt strong, not because his legs had magically returned to the way they were at 50. No, the stiffness still visited him on cold mornings. The cane still leaned nearby, but Ray was not stuck anymore. He had reclaimed control through daily effort, new habits, and a better understanding of what his body needed. And that is the heart of this journey. Aging may change the rules, but it does not erase your power. In fact, the older you get, the more vital your decisions become. Your strength does not disappear. It evolves. It shifts from youthful speed to thoughtful resilience. And whether you are 60 or 80, you still have the ability to steer the course of your life. Let me say this as clearly as possible. Age may slow you down, but your actions are what truly determine your outcome. You have seen it in Ray's story. You have seen how years of slow decline, sarcopenia, neuropathy, poor circulation, Bone thinning and silent inflammation can lead to a fall that changes everything. But you have also seen how every one of those issues can be addressed, not through magic, not through extreme workouts, but through daily, manageable steps that restore strength from the inside out. So now the question becomes, what will you do with this information? You do not need to change everything today. In fact, you should not. Big transformations begin with small shifts. What matters most is that you begin, not someday, not after the weekend, today. Here are 3 simple, powerful actions you can take right now to support your legs, your mobility, and your independence. First, get up and go for a walk, just 10 minutes, around the block, through your hallway, or up and down your driveway. It does not need to be fast or impressive. What matters is that you are telling your body, I still move, I still live. Walking activates the largest muscles in your body, supports blood flow, and builds confidence with every step. Second, if you have not already done so, ask your doctor to check your vitamin D levels. This single nutrient plays a massive role in your muscle strength, bone density, and immune health. Many adults over 60 are deficient without realizing it. A simple blood test can give you answers. And if you need a supplement, it is a low-cost, high-impact change. Third, take a hard look at the fruits in your kitchen. If you are eating bananas, grapes, watermelon, or pineapple every day, it might be time to rethink. These fruits, while natural, can spike blood sugar and trigger inflammation, especially in aging joints. Swap them out for blueberries, avocado, or kiwi fruits that nourish without the sugar surge. Small dietary shifts can reduce swelling, ease joint pain, and support clearer energy. You do not need to do all 3 today, but pick one, write it down, make it your mission. Then do it again tomorrow, because progress does not come from occasional effort. It comes from consistency. Ray started with walking. 10 minutes became 15, then 20. He noticed his balance improving. His legs felt steadier. Next, he cut out his afternoon bowl of grapes and replaced it with cottage cheese and sliced avocado. His knees stopped throbbing at night, and when he tested his vitamin D levels low, he began taking a supplement, and within weeks, his energy returned. What happened to Ray was not luck. It was commitment, and it is available to you. 2. Your body is not failing you. It is responding to the life you live. And the beautiful truth is, you can change that life at any time. You do not need to become an athlete. You do not need to follow a perfect plan. You just need to respect your legs for what they are, the foundation of your freedom. Every step you take strengthens that foundation. Every wise bite of food supports it. Every hour spent moving instead of sitting restores it. So, here is your challenge. Pick one thing from today's video and do it. Just one. Then, come back here and tell me how it felt. Did you walk? Did you check your vitamin D? Did you try a new fruit? I want to hear from you, because when we share our steps, we remind each other that we are not doing this alone. And if this video gave you something to think about, something to act on, leave a comment below and type the number 1. Let me know you are still here with me, still committed to taking care of your body. If this is not quite the right message for you today, type 0 and tell me what would help you more next time. Your voice matters, and if you have not already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications We are building a community of older adults who are not giving in to decline, but choosing to rise. One step, one meal, and one breath at a time. Ray got back on his feet, and so can you. Because strength is not about what you have lost. It is about what you choose to rebuild. Let us begin, together,